What's up, everyone? Senyo here, Schultz Outfitters. I just wanted to give you guys a quick tutorial and sneak peek of the new Shadow Fibers from Montana Fly Company. I've had several requests to give you a little fly tying, and the Shadow A.I is the pattern that's been requested. So, cool thing about this fly versus the original is about flash, and that's the attraction factor of the fly pattern, you know. And it's also great for the winter because it uses mostly synthetics. Flashaboo, you know, you set it in the water, so if your fly freezes and stuff like that, it unfreezes really fast. The same, all those principles still apply with this. The difference is we're getting into more, you can play in clearer water and stuff like that. Focus more on color of the fly versus the flash component of the fly. So I'm going to show you that here today. All right, so I've already pre-prepped myself some 25 millimeter shanks with the new bulb eyes from MFC. And so wire, everything's already there. Just need to attach. Get that thread started and get ourselves to the back. You'll notice too, I've kind of streamlined the pattern a little bit and took some of the hard to use components out. Gonna add some 10 millimeter satin chenille. Like I said, we're gonna stay in that matte theme for this pattern. So I'm just going to give my hot spot. I like to use both hands, so if you're having a hard time seeing a little bit, it's just all I'm doing is forcing those light fibers to the rear. Then I'm going to clean that up a little bit. So once you're there, like I like to add a little added dynamic. So these satin chenilles and all of the shadow fiber, the nice thing about it is it takes marker extremely well. So I'm going to use a Sharpie or a Copic, and I can give this that nice clown hot spot in the back. Just kind of a little added dynamic. Might work for gills and stuff too. So just a little touch there on the bottom just to give it that tone. I'm going to take some of this satin polar chenille. Set that over and lock her in. I just like to make sure I get this fiber all going the same way. And then I'm going to wrap these tight. Don't worry if it's messy right now. It's all going to clean itself up. Get about 6 wraps or so. And then lock that in. All I'm going to do is make sure this is all secured. So you'll notice you'll have a really nice halo around that hot spot. So next I'm going to use some scales and tails. You will see I pull a nice little thin, and thin portion of this, and everybody asks us how much do I need, and like I always tell everyone it's a feel. It's kind of hard to teach it until you do it. But if you twist it, it's real thin. Okay? So it's just enough to hold material up. Okay? Just enough. Like, you don't want so much where you can't you can't tie it in and cinch it down. And it's pretty easy to figure out what that amount is. So there we go. So this is going to be like on the original. This is where I use the Lady Amherst tail feathers. You know, it's very expensive, hard to get feathers. So, you know, this product here does a very good job of replacing that. So there's our underwing now. Any too long fibers, I just trim. I'm going to grab my shadow fiber. So if you check this out, this is a true matte material, and then what it has is it has these white streaks, or this white like antique finish that runs through it, like, you know, almost like a pearl, but just not as reflective. And that's the shadow that is in the shadow fiber. It's almost like the material wants to cast its own shadow. So we're going to take a small clump of that. You should measure and look. And you would do this is the same as you would do the original AI. You just want to stagger tie them in to build that wing. And this is maybe about 20 strands of this stuff that's going to be folded over. So just a couple loose wraps, pinch it out, bring the forward, pinch it out, and that's all it's doing is I'm spreading it. So if you see that, it's just spreading that wing a little bit, okay? Just nice and easy. Hold it, couple wraps, don't go crazy because we're going to be adding to this. So obviously we're doing bait fish, right? So I don't want the pattern to be about flash, but I want to accent lightly with flash. So I'm using this fish flash from Montana, which is a really micro, you know, fiber. You know, this is tan. It's got a little bit of pearl reflection. So I'm going to cut off just a couple strands of this. You know, just to kind of give the fly like a inside lateral line. Set that right over the top. I'm going to pull it into position there and fold it over and just lightly lock it in for now. So there, we get just a light pearl inset there. So I'm going to go back to my white. I'm going to take a little bit of this. You know, about 10 strands or so, and this is, I'm just lengthening out that wing so I could add the back to it. I'm going to take those shadow fibers just so they're slightly longer. Lock it in. Just giving that wing a little bit of a taper. There we go. And then what we're going to do is you know, on most of your bait fish, if not all, you've always got a darker back than you do the belly, right? Okay. So I'm going to take some of this matte Flashabou just to accent this one. Now you could use a different color if you wanted to, you know, so just to show it. And then I'll put that on. I'm going to take just a few strands of the chartreuse, just to give that a little highlight right underneath where that Flashabou is going to be. So you should be able to see that on video there. It's got that real light chartreuse there underneath. And what we're going to do is take a few strands of the matte olive Flashabou, which we're going to run right over the top. And if you do that, just wet it a little bit there. We'll lock it all together. There we go. There we go. I'm just going to check to make sure it's not too long. I don't like to cut straight lines, so I just trim these up a little bit. There's ones that are too long. That looks good to me. So So I'm going to lock that in. And what we do is you just pick your favorite feather. This is just white schlappen. Like I said, we're keeping that white minnow belly kind of theme here. So just finding one you like. I don't know, I'm kind of picky about my feathers. I should have probably picked one out before we started this video, but trying to keep it real. There we go, I like that one. Just going to pull them back a little bit there so I can tie it in right over the top. Pull off the tip. Just going to wet these back a little bit. You can use water if you want. I don't. You notice I just keep pruning those feathers back. I think it's important. You want everything to lay nice and neat. Tuck those right up to that eye. I'm going to do is fold it right over the top. Lock that down. Get rid of any excess. Just going to make sure I got everything tied in there. Alright, so there we are so far. Now we're just going to add our collar. Again, this is guinea. You just find one that you like. I'm just going to get rid of that marabou. It just makes it easier for me to see. Come in right over the top again. I'm going to lock that in, and I'm going to fold the tip backward. Move your thread out of the way. And then I'm going to start wrapping this right in front of those eyes. Use your finger to force all those fibers back. And I'm slowly just working my way forward. And then I'm going to lock that in. Make a little thread head here. I got a little loose fiber I don't like here. I'm going to pull it out. I'm just going to build this up really good. I'm going to check it. Sometimes you need to brush it, sometimes you don't. This one looks pretty good. Just going to take a little bit of epoxy. I'm going to let that soak into the head there. That way it never comes undone. It's stronger than any knot you could put there. It takes less time. You'd be whip finishing still. I'm pretty much done. Alright. There we go. All we gotta do is add a hook to it, right? So we already put our loop on the back. I'm just gonna fold it all forward. Grab my hook. Through the eye. And around. Done. There you go. Shadow A.I. Nice and clean. All about color. You can see how that clown shines through there. Tons of movement on the fly, super lightweight, easy to cast, simple build. I hope you enjoyed.